Hi, everybody, and welcome to the NFL Recap edition of ProLine, where we recap what just took place in the NFL in Week 8, and we look ahead to the opening game of Week 9, which will be, let's say it's not the most exciting game of the year on Thursday as the Chiefs take on the Chargers, but we'll try and give you a little insight into that as well. First up, we start in the NFL, and we tell you about what we did this past weekend and also what we've got coming up. I guess I'll blow my own horn first. College Game of the Year, 32nd annual one, was Saturday. An easy winner. Boise State goes in to Wyoming and just demolishes the Cowboys. They win the game by about 25 points, so no sweat whatsoever. Rockin' Chair winner, 25-7 now lifetime on that College Game of the Year. That's done. No need to talk about it anymore. Let's move ahead and get more profits. And the NBA is now underway. I've got a great opening month special. $30 for the whole month of November. That's $1 a day. Plus you get these last couple of days of October, so it actually is less than $1 a day. Plus you're going to get free bonus NFL and college football. That's going to be included for November as well when you sign up. That's 4 weeks of NBA, NFL, and college football for $30. You can't beat it. And I play a lot of NBA early. I actually taper off on the NBA as the season goes along. But I have some strong opinions early, and I think there's some advantages to playing heavy early. So, opening night, 2 games. Second night of the year, I'm going to have like 5 games. Get in on this. 1-866-896-1629. That's 1-866-896-1629. Fairway Jay, big play in the Broncos Sunday night. Another winning weekend on the college totals. And a big 5-play countdown coming up this week, Jay.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, our top play, our mismatch game of the year went with the Broncos. They destroyed the Saints. Sunday night, they had the biggest yardage edge, over 530 yards of offense. That was a good one. And totals, we took advantage of some weather things we talked about last week. Had a nice 7-6 winner in the Western Kentucky game under. Those are terrific to get in when they're never in doubt. So we'll continue this week. We got a guaranteed 5-play countdown this week. 3 plays Saturday, 2 plays Sunday, and in fact, we're doing our AFC Game of the Year total again this week, and it'll be up and available early. So call the office. With that, we'll include our NBA high roller going tonight as well. 1-866-896-1627. This weekend, we must go 4-1, Dave, or the rest of November will be free. Again, call 1-866-896-1627.
Well, Jim, huge weekend for you in the colleges. I mean, you just killed it on Saturday. The NFL's been good all year, and the monster plays coming up this weekend, College Game of the Year.
David, it was sweet in the colleges. It's been sometimes choppy, but boy, we bounced back on Saturday. It's been a great pro year as well. A 28-18 NFL run, including my top play with the Giants on Sunday, the high roller Monday with the 49ers and Cardinals under, never in doubt. 6-1 in the colleges, as I mentioned, including a high roller play on Arizona, Ole Miss, Ball State, plus my Big East Game of the Year with Syracuse, the 3-point dog wins straight up. My College Game of the Year goes on Saturday. I'm 10-2-1, 85% since 1999 with this exclusive release. $99. That's $99 online. Can't talk very well today. $25 guarantee. That's with a guarantee. $25 if you call the room. That's 1-866-841-1655. You will win, or the rest of November, college football is free. Sign up early. Get the bonus, plus a TV winner going tonight in the NBA. Speaking of the NBA, Dave, like you said, we're all locked and loaded for the NBA. We're going to have a big year. We're going to analyze a lot of things, talk about a lot of things, but you really want to get involved in these college games. College football Game of the Year, NFL is red hot. Make the call, $25 with a guarantee, 1-866-841-1655. Dave, one thing before we get into football, there was a big trade in the NBA this week. Yeah. And I know you follow the NBA a lot, as does Jay. Harden goes from Oklahoma City to Houston, which is a team that probably isn't going to be all that good. But in my opinion, they're going to kind of wallow a little bit down at the bottom of the league. But how do you see the trade? My opinion was that Oklahoma City did quite well.
I thought both teams did well. I really like the trade for both squads. Look, Houston needs a number one guy, and Harden can be that, especially in what they're going to run. They want to run a lot of pick and roll with Jeremy Lin out at the point, and Harden's as good at the pick and roll as anybody in the NBA. I mean, he is really outstanding in that aspect of the game. So, they get themselves a guy they feel can be their number one guy, and they can max him, which Oklahoma City was not going to be able to do. So from Oklahoma City's standpoint, they cleaned up the roster. They weren't going to be able to keep all these guys. They don't have to trade Ibaka away. They pick up a shooter in Kevin Martin who can put the ball in the basket. And I really like Jeremy Lamb, the rookie out of UConn. I think he's going to be a terrific NBA player. I think both teams made out really well here. Oklahoma City, I know their win total dropped a little bit at the sports books when this trade was announced, but I'm not so sure that's accurate. I think they'll still be a really strong team, and I think the Rockets just made themselves better. They didn't have to trade Chandler Parsons away in the deal, which I think is a good young player. There doesn't have to be a winner and a loser in every trade. Sometimes it's win-win, and both teams make out. I think this was a really good deal for both teams.
Jay, how do you feel?
No, I'll just comment real brief on this. The trade, one of the things I look for early season is cohesion and chemistry, and I know many of these teams and players can play, but when you start to see adjustments, we've got some point guards that are changing, obviously in LA with Nash moving. When you have a player coming in like Harden, there still has to be an adjustment period potentially with him fitting into the offense. He's going to be the scorer, there's no doubt. I like to evaluate what I see with regards to chemistry and how they're playing and adjusting, especially at the point guard position when things are changing. And Oklahoma City, no lack of scoring and offensive capability, so I don't think they'll miss him as much. And I like the fact that they picked up some real solid draft choices in the trade to bolster them long term. And obviously they've got superstars obviously on the roster. So my biggest comment with regards to the trade is to see how the new players develop and work into the system with the chemistry of the team, but also looking at some of these other teams that have a change at point guard. Collison obviously taking over in Dallas, and we know they have injuries. They open up at LA without Nowitzki, but it'll be interesting to see how Collison, a new point guard for them as well, makes the transition.
Well, NFL,
Dave, we got some teams in the NFL that have really started to show that they're a little bit better than expected, and we've got some teams that have shown up to be very poor compared to what we thought they were going to be. In the NFC, of course, you saw one of those teams last night with San Francisco. Their defense has been incredible.
Boy.
Offense, you're always going to have a question mark with Alex Smith at quarterback, but if he has a good running game and a defense, he can go a long way. There's guys that do that. He's not Brady. He's not, Aaron Rodgers, but he's capable. And you got the Chicago Bears, who struggled this past week, but that might have been a flat spot for them. But they're very capable as well. Their defense is very strong. Their running game is strong. Jay Cutler, I believe, I heard a stat this morning that the last 12 games he started, he's actually won 11 of them. He missed quite a few at the end of last year because he was hurt. Jay Cutler he's a premium quarterback. He can get it done. He's got a big arm, and with that running game, problem is their offensive line sometimes gets a little stinky, but and he can get killed. I remember when Mike Martz was there, he was getting sacked 8 times a game. That wasn't very good. But we got some teams. I mean, New England, I don't know what to make of them. One week they can't score, they can't hold a lead. Then they show up and just blast the Rams last week. They're very hard to predict week to week. They're kind of schizophrenic. Dave, what do you see going on?
I think the most interesting thing to me right now is the decision that's going to be made in Philadelphia. I wanted to get opinions on this. Should they bench Michael Vick? That is the big question. As we are talking right now, it hasn't been decided yet. They have a game coming up this weekend against the Saints at New Orleans. Very noisy building to break a rookie quarterback in with his first start at Nick Foles. But the Eagles are in desperate straits right now, and I guess they feel they need to do something to shake up the football team. The problem is I'm not seeing any passion on this team, and I'm not seeing any defense on this team. Michael Vick is not responsible for the defense's inability to stop anything. Personally, he's not a great quarterback. He just isn't. He doesn't read defenses well. This is an NFL now where you have to be able to read defenses at the point of attack and make changes, make your decisions based on what you're seeing right in front of you. Vic doesn't have the ability to do that. He's just not Peyton Manning. He's not Tom Brady. He's not Matt Schaub. He's not in that category. He's a gifted guy, but he's not a long-term answer at quarterback for the Eagles or anybody else, in my opinion. Not that he's a stiff. He just doesn't fit well with 2012 NFL. I think he's strictly an average guy at this point. I think they should make the change. I don't think it's fair to blame Vic for all the Eagles' problems. I think that would be way out of line because it goes much deeper than that. But in terms of the Eagles putting things together for now and further down the road, let's get Nick Foles in there, see what you can do with him. And if he doesn't get the job done, then you look to draft somebody in 2013. I just don't think Vic's the guy anymore. And I agree with Andy Reid in making this move if he does it.
I'm not a Michael Vick fan. I've never, other than the first couple years he was in the league and he was so dynamic with his running ability. He's older now. He's been hurt a number of times. He had a couple years in prison. He's not the same guy as he was back then. The league has changed as well. As you said, Andy Reid, I feel, has lived past his prime.
Yeah.
I think he needs to be replaced. I think Michael Vick is a joke at quarterback, in my opinion. But what really bothers me about teams like this, that they have one part of their – see, this is how it is a team, and one part of their team is not performing. It affects the other part. They're not playing defense either. And they changed their defensive coordinator. That certainly did not help. They were beat at every position by Atlanta, and they were an embarrassment. I think the team is done. I think with Andy Reid at head coach, I think they're done. Now, they do have an advantage in this situation. They're playing against a team that's also done, the Saints. I mean, they're completely done. They got wiped out at Denver. They didn't show up. I mean, there was an offense that can score on anybody that couldn't score at all. This is a mess. Of course, this was a mess because of the Bounty Gate thing, and at the start of the season, they haven't looked good since, except for one game. So the two of these teams are going nowhere, in my opinion. And the head coach for Philadelphia and the quarterback for Philadelphia, in my opinion, both need to be changed. I don't think Foles would make a big difference at this point because he doesn't play defense, and if the defense is going to continue to quit like they did last week, it's not going to make any difference. But just about anybody could beat the Saints now because the Saints
they're terrible.
Don't look very good either.
Jim,
of course, they have a lot better advantage. They have a big advantage of quarterback and Breeze, of course.
Their defense is horrendous. But here's the thing on the Saints, Jay. This team is literally 2 plays away from being 0-7. You had that bad penalty in the San Diego game, which nullified an interception. Then they took it down and scored, and the Chargers fell apart. That was a stupid penalty, and that absolutely cost San Diego that game. So there's one. And then the Tampa thing, that kind of goofy rule that saved the Saints at the end of that football game, plus the field goal where Tampa took a dumb penalty and allowed the Saints to get it. They're that close to being 0-7. They're no good. So I don't know if we get a true read on Nick Foles. But I will say this. If you're going to put Foles in, it's kind of – I've heard a couple of people say, well, you don't want to do that in a national TV game at night. Yeah, I do. It's against the Saints. They suck on defense. That's the perfect place to break Nick Foles in. What do you want to do? Wait till you're playing somebody really good on defense and give him a nightmarish first start? I couldn't agree more with making a change right here.
It's been no secret I've been tough on Vic. I tweet out things, I write about it. Jim's being harder than I am on the guy, but he's not the answer. And I agree, Dave. This is the right situation with that defense, I think, to put Foles in there and give him some confidence in the team. The other thing we talk about, we go through the stats and we analyze, and you'll hear me talk about the running advantages and the rushing guidelines and the point of attack play. But I said something out about the Eagles. Their comments are coming out of the locker room. They're a frustrated group of men. We expect a lot more of ourselves. And to me, when you start lacking the chemistry and cohesion and leadership, it goes way beyond the stats and what projects to be, a performance that might be there. They're a talented group, and they're going to have their times here against some of their division opponents, but that is a done group. There needs to be change there, and it starts with Vic. I've said it along, there's just not enough, the timing in the offense just is not working under him, and so I think there has to be change, and I believe it's the right situation to find out about Foles as well on Monday night. Back to the Eagles overall with them moving forward, looking at their schedule. They've got some tough division games coming up. Going into their last week's game against the Falcons, their pass defense was actually allowing one of the lowest percentages, 52% completions, but Atlanta tore through them pretty good. So there's all sorts of chemistry issues, I think, with in the mindset of the Eagles. And to me, when you're starting to bet, it's difficult to put your money behind teams like that, even at New Orleans where they're getting points and you have that bad defense. I think I'll be looking at the Saints this week to come back, and I've obviously played against the Saints big this last week. They gave up over 500 yards to Tampa Bay, and then they come back and give up over 500 yards to Denver the last week.
And before we move ahead to the Chargers and Chiefs, let's talk about one more guy in the NFL. Anybody still have any doubts about Peyton Manning and whether he made the right decision to come back from the surgery? Holy cow. Well, he's right back to where he was.
I don't know if he made the right decisions physically, because I don't know what his body's like and what kind of ramifications there are of another big hit. But this guy can play football. This guy is good. And he is just good. Now, granted, we just measuring him against what he did with the Saints on national television, and we know how bad the Saints are. But the guy can play football. He's a smart man. He's a smart guy, not just about football. He's smart about everything. He's a smart guy. If you ever heard him talk, I mean, he really knows his stuff about so many, and he can make very good commercials, by the way.
He is. He is good in the commercials. Nobody getting commercials right now on the Chargers or the Chiefs. Wow. You talk about two teams wallowing in the mud of the NFL. They match up in San Diego on Thursday. The Chargers about 5.5-point favorites, 42.5 on the total. First impulse here is that it's going to be a low-scoring game because the two offenses are really horrendous. The interesting thing here, they could put a prop up. Which coach gets fired first? Romeo Crennel has done nothing good with Kansas City. Norv Turner's got more lives than a cat, but he might finally be out of him. Jay, this is not going to be the highest-rated game of the season, but I'll tell you what, if we can find a winner, that's all that really matters. And I think there's an opportunity to pick up a paycheck in this game.
Yeah, as tough as I am on some of the quarterback play of Vic, let's be fair here. I think Matt Castle's proven very poorly. I've been really tough on him, and it should speak volumes if Brady Quinn can't come in and hold this job here, that Castle comes back in last week and has to, try to lead this team. To me, there's still no difference, quite a bit of difference between Norv Turner, despite having more talent to work with, and Romeo Crennel. Crennel obviously is proving that this wasn't a good hire for Kansas City. Now, maybe he doesn't have the quarterback play, but they're still struggling, and that's issues, because statistically, Kansas City's in this game, they're much better than San Diego. And when I start talking about running the ball, they're running it now, even after last week, not so good. They run it for over 150 yards a game, and I think that'll be their MO here, because they're going to have troubles. I think, Dave, I'm with you. I'm probably looking more at the under the total in this game, because I'm not going to want to lay 7.5, 8 points with San Diego. I want no part of Kansas City, and I know we have to make adjustments and look at the betting line, and we saw Kansas City bounce back big when they went to New Orleans and even came from behind. Amazing stat is Kansas City has not led a game this season. They have not had the lead in any game this year. Their only lead was when they won in overtime at New Orleans. It's just remarkable. So it is difficult when they're having to play behind, but obviously they don't have the quarterback play or the ability in the passing game to come back. And if they fall behind, that's a problem. But I'm probably looking at less scoring than maybe expected here, because the other is Rivers. Let's be tough on him too here. He's had 37 turnovers in his last 23 games. This guy, I posted some things last week. Interceptions and fumbles are really a problem for him as well. So there's when you start to handicap these games, we talk about turnovers. You can't project those, especially the fumbles. KC leads the league in turnover margin every week. It's 2, 3, 4 turnovers again last week, so that's difficult to put your. That's frustrating as a bettor, when you have them and they're running the ball and they're not putting up points and turning the ball over. So tough game here to me. Probably less scoring than expected.
Jim, we know what the Chiefs are going to try and do. They're going to try and run the ball.
Jay, you mentioned that San Diego hasn't led, but they did lead 24-0 over Denver.
No, Kansas City. That was Kansas City he was talking about.
Kansas City has not led.
Right.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's very interesting.
Well, I know one thing. The Chiefs can't win throwing the ball, as Jay just pointed out. So they're going to try and run. San Diego, I've made this argument all year long, and I think I'm right. If they were to focus on running the football and correct the imbalance in their offense, flip it, run 55%, pass 45% instead of the other way around, which is what they're doing, I don't think they'd be that bad a football team. They've got good running backs, and they've got a good run-blocking offensive line. What they don't have is a good receiving core. Quite frankly, it's just not that good. And the pass blocking is not the best either. To me, this is a classic example why Norv Turner's not a very good head football coach. How do you not play to your strengths? They should be running the football. Maybe they'll figure it out here. If they do, we got a low-scoring game and a pretty good under.
I agree with both of you. This is an underplay for me. First of all, it's a game in the middle of the week, and there's less time to prepare, less time for the bodies to heal, and that's another indication to me that it's probably going to be an under. Phillip Rivers for the last few years has been, we talk about him as being a great quarterback, but he's really not. His stats don't bear that out. Castle obviously is not either. 6 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 15 sacks. Of course, a lot of that has to do with your offensive line. Kansas City's a great running team, and I think they will go to that. And that is a strength. They are tremendous at running the football. This game looks to be low scoring. I think the line is also way too high. I'm looking at here. Some of these places put up big numbers, like Pinnacle is 9.5. That's a teaser line. The reason they do that is because people tease it down 6 points. They make it 3 or 3.5. Like another bookmaker is 7.5. The places around town are going to be the same: 7.5, 9.5, 8.5. So when you look at numbers like that are over a touchdown with bad football teams like San Diego is, poor coaching, poor quarterbacking, poor game plans, poor in-game decisions. This is the bottom part of our league, the NFL. And you're not going to get much consistency from these guys. Every once in a while they'll play a good game. Most of the time they're going to play bad games. This is probably going to be a pretty low-scoring game.
Guys, we will come back, of course, with the college and pro football editions of Pro Line a little later in the week. Let's once again recap what we've got coming up. I hit my college game of the year with Boise State. Had a big weekend overall. NBA now underway. Awesome. 1 month off for 30 days, or actually the whole month of November plus the end of October. So it's more than 30 days for $30. That includes NFL, college basketball, it's college basketball at the end of the month, college football, and NBA. A whole month for $30. You can't miss on this. Get it now, 1-866-896-1629, 1-866-896-1629. Jay, you got a 4-1 guarantee out there this week.
Guaranteed 5-play countdown this week, Dave. We need to go 4-1 or November will be free. Come off some real top play winners again this past week. You sign up early this week, you get a bonus NBA high roller play. We've talked about the NBA early season adjustments. We'll have some totals going there as well. Be sure to call the office, 1-866-896-1627. 4-1 this weekend, and college and pro combined, or November is free.
College game of the year, Jim, the last 13 years you are 10-2-1 on the college game of the year. That's 85% roughly. So I think there might be a good reason for people to get in touch with you this Saturday.
Good reason, especially when I'm coming off a 6-1 Saturday last week and 28-18 run in the NFL. You should get involved. And this is the college game of the year. Goes on Saturday, like Dave said. Since 1999, I'm 85%. It's $99 online, $25 with a guarantee. You will win, or the rest of November, college football is free. Sign up early and get a bonus TV winner going tonight in the NBA through Saturday. That's right. A winner tonight plus the NBA through Saturday. 1-866-841-1655.
All right, guys. Good stuff. Let's go get them this week and keep the ball rolling. We'll come back with the college and pro football edition of the Pro Line as well. So make sure and stick around the website and catch those videos. For Jim Feist, Fairway Jay, I'm Dave Cokin. Thanks for watching. Have a great week, everybody.